Okay, we're going to look at something that's called an arithmetic series, and the idea is we're going to take a sequence. We know this sequence here, 4, 7, 10, 13. We know it's going up by 3, so that the formula for finding any term would be 3n, and the one before 4 would be 1, so it's 3n plus 1. That gives us any term in the sequence. But what if we wanted to add these terms together? Well, you could go 4 plus a 7 and write down the answer, and then add 10 and write down the answer, and then add 13. And you could work it all out that way, but that would be a tedious way. There's smarter ways to do things sometimes. And in mathematics, there's a thing called grouping. There's different numbers we could add together that are easier. They come up with easier that just make the problem easier. So we don't have to add 4 and 7. We could add 4 and 13. We can add any ones we want together. So that's kind of the secret. Now, this is all about a GeoGebra demonstration. And they start off with this picture, 4 blocks and then 7 blocks. You're looking at all these blocks. But if you were trying to figure out the area, you could count all the blocks, and that'd be one way, and you'd come up with an answer. But isn't there some way to rearrange these blocks so that we would have a shape that's easier to work out? And how would you do that? I just think it's kind of an interesting problem. And there is a famous mathematician called Gauss. And there's a story about when he was in elementary school, and he had to add up some numbers like this. It was actually, the story goes, the numbers from 1 to 100. But, and he just did something clever and made the problem a lot easier. What if we kept this series going? 4 plus 7 plus, whoops, that should be a 10. That should be a 10 there. And then it would end on 135. I'm going to change that to a 10 when we look at it again. That would be 145 and 148 and 151. If there were 50 of these numbers, I can use the sequence like this is the 50th term. 3n plus 1, 3 times 50 plus 1. This is 3 times 49 plus 1. This is 3 times 47 plus 1. This is 3 times 1 plus 1, 3 times 2 plus 1, 3 times 3 plus 1. That's why it should be 10, not 11. Anyways, that's the last problem of this little exercise, is to try and figure out how a smart way to put these 50 numbers together. And I think it's a kind of an interesting puzzle, so you just give it a try.